just do a short video for this first one, and then I'm gonna throw some other videos out later this week. But this one is important to kind of take a further step into data collection for your UX testing that you're going to be doing. And so I want to get this out there to you all. We did do, let me just open it up, scripts. We did our save script. And save JSON data. I'll bring this over here. And we were able to save one of, oh, God, we don't need that debug in there anymore. We are saving the one piece of data, which is, let me open that one up. Our data processing, right? The number of shots fired. That's what we're tracking. But I've asked you to save 5 pieces of data. I believe it's 5. We'll just go with this, multiple pieces of data. And so I figured I would cover at least how to increase this to 2, so then you can increase this to whatever data that you're wanting to end up adding to that. Let me close these ones for now. Let's cancel that. I'm just going to add these here for a second. Took them off, and now I'm back. Okay, so what we want to start with is adding another piece of data to collect, right? So we've got shots fired. Let's do a float. So public float time played. So we're going to track the amount of time that was played. And so in our data processing, right, so now we're processing 2 pieces of data. And so when we're calling this data processing, we want now, and I love how much it fills in, I both do and don't, we're going to do exactly what, it wanted, which is this. We want to add into the data that's part of this function. We have our shots fired integer, and we're going to have the float time played, and we connect that through this time played equals time played. So that's going to now, and we can add to this, right? So we could do another a public vector 3, and it could be player death, so you could actually know exactly where the player died. Anything like that, right? And so you're going to collect the data, you're going to add, just like this, you'll add more to this list. We'll save this. And then we're going to come over here, which now is going to have a problem because we're only passing 1 in there right now, right? And so what we're going to do is, in creating data to save, we're going to come in here and we're going to say that we need to add this in here. So just like isn't there, we're going to, we need our user profile data. So let's open that one real quick because that's going to complain again if we don't have that. So in here, we're just saving information, right? So what we'll do is we'll also add public float time played, right? So this could be time played the level. This could be time just played, right? If you've got like a bullet hell just survival game and you want to just know how long they lasted, or maybe how many times they just played it over and over again, right? If you've got a system that either once you beat it or once you die, you can restart the game without ever fully leaving the scene, great. Then you can actually track like how many times they did that. You can also track respawns, all that stuff. So we want to make sure that this is matching, right? So we have shots fired, time played. It doesn't have to be worded exactly the same, but it's just easier, right? Because we're tracking this all the way through. So in our user profile data, we're going to save this. We're going to create a script that's going to give that information there in just a minute. And so then in our save JSON data, we're going to, I'm going to just do an enter here just to make it go a little easier, make it read nicer. Get component, same thing, user profile data, and this is going to be time played. So that's now going to, and we're creating our data to play, right? We're processing it. We need those two pieces of data. They need to be in the same order. That's what we've set up here. Okay. And then let me just delete my debug logs. We don't need them. Always nice to have. Okay. So we typed this in earlier, but we're going to change our pathway for this, right? So the one that we have currently in the system is saving the path to the persistent data path of the application, which is where you have to go into, dive down into the user, local, everything like that, to then find this specific game save, right? You're going to have to do the same. We're going to still use persistent data path, but in this case, it would write over it, right? You would load someone else's data if you ran someone else through it. And so we don't want that. We want to be able to make sure that this is just saving the data that we want. And so what we're going to do that, we're going to, I'm just going to comment this out. And I'm going to bring this one back in. And so we're setting now our path. It's still, we're going to setting it to the application persistent data path. Let's see if I can get it all on here. I'm not going to be, so I'm going to have to do that. You can do returns and stuff like that just to make things easier to read. Just as long as you don't add anything to it, right? You can just bring it down a line. So if you have something super long, you want to see it all on screen, that's what you can do. So we're doing the same thing, right? We're doing a persistent data path, but we're changing what we're going to call this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, same idea, we're going to add our slash because we need that. But what we're going to do is we're going to save this as the time that they played it. So that if someone were to reload this, that time is different. So this is going to just make it easier, you know, the order of your participants. When they went through, you can then just match up their information. And so what this is doing, it is pulling, it's using the system, date, time. It literally is pulling the local or the current time wherever you're at, which is on your system, right? System time. And it's converting it to a string of the month, the day, the year, and then the hour and the minutes. So that is going to be the file name .json. And so by doing this, it's going to save that as that file. And it just makes it so much easier when you're working with users, for when you're doing user testing. It just makes it much more simple. If you even wanted to, if you had a spot where you had them enter their name into the system, where you gave them an ID number that they did. I actually set this up for a friend of mine in grad school that they were running one of their dissertational research studies. And I built them an environment to do their testing in, and we had them enter in their ID because there was you didn't want to attach a name or anything to it at that point. And so we just had them enter their ID at the very beginning. We saved that, and then in the save file here, I added to, instead of having the date time, I went and pulled what their actual ID was, and we saved it under their ID. And then that can all be brought up later. So this is going to be able to make that happen. And so what we're doing at this point, right, is we are, so we're saving that, making it really clear which one is which is going to be very helpful. And then what we need to do in this case is we need to be able to have a way to stop the time when we're going to save. And so we're going to handle this here in the save JSON data. I probably would set it up in another script. Actually, we're going to set up another script. So we're going to do that real quick. So what we're going to do is, let's see, do I have a script that would make sense? Player controller, not really. Let's write another script. It's just going to be for that. So we're going to create a new modern behavior script. We're going to call it, we'll call it game controller. I don't have a game controller. I usually have a game controller. We have the game controller here. So we're going to actually end up attaching this to our game controller when we get there. And so what we're going to do in our game controller script, we're going to open it up, and all we're going to do, because we're just checking in this case, how long were they in the game. And so we don't need an update. We're going to want to get a reference to serialized field private game object. Yeah. Oops, that's not how you spell game object. Oh, that's really not what you want. Game object. And then we'll call this. Let's call it DC data controller, right? Because that's where we are in our data controller. That is where we are saving our time played, right? So we're going to need to be able to write that. And so we'll do. I lost my. Nope. All right. So we're move this over just a little bit so I can grab it. Data controller is where we're going to save that data, so we're going to want to be able to have a reference to that, which we'll just manually. Actually, let's just do this. We're going to do both, and then we're going to create one other variable. We're going to do a private float start time. And so on start, we're going to do DC is equal to find object what is it? That is I don't know why I always do this one wrong. It is game object dot find, and then we're doing, I always do this because I don't trust my typing anymore. Data controller. Right, so that's just going to automatically populate that. Once again, you probably would want to attach this. Otherwise, we don't want to run too many of these finds on start. But on a small game like what we're doing here, it's really not an issue. And so we're going to do that. And then we're going to do start time. Time is equal to time dot time. Right, so this is our time. This is the current time of the game. And so that's just going to start it going. And so then what we're going to do here, we're going to create a public void. We do not need a return on this. Public void calculate playtime. We don't need any information coming in there, right? So we're going to be able to call this calculate playtime function from our saved JSON data. We're going to call it from in here. And all we're doing with this is we're going to say DC dot component, and and this is user profile data dot play, time played is equal to time dot time minus start time. So all we're doing with this is we're saying what's our current time and subtract from our current time what that start time was, and now put that into our time played, and that's going to give us it's all in seconds, so that'll tell us how many seconds they're played. So if you want to figure out how many minutes they played, you're going to have to do the math on that. So this is going to run that. That's there. Let's save this. Let's go ahead and come back into Unity. I want to add the game controller to our game controller before I forget. All right, we've got that there. And so now from our data controller, from our save, we're going to want, we're going to need to add, just do it here again, private game object game controller, and we're going to say game controller not path is equal to, once again, copying and pasting it. If you feel confident typing it, please go right ahead. That's going to put it in there. No, I'm over here. Sorry, I was looking for something and I can't remember what I was looking for. We're good. So now we have a reference to that, and so from here we are going to when we press escape, right? Escape is going to end up exiting the game, right? We're going to eventually quit the application. But right before we create our data to save, we want to go ahead and run that. So we're going to say game controller dot get component. Yes. What are you complaining about? Game controller, nope, controller dot, and what do we call it again? We called it calculate playtime. Calculate playtime. And so now, that went away. I don't know what it was stuck on. And so now we've got our game controller. It's sending it out to calculate the playtime, so it is when we are exiting, right? We are checking the amount of time they were there and playing at the very end. So you could have this be when they reach a checkpoint. This could be triggered many different ways, right? And so you could even have this if they played the game multiple times. You could set it up for fastest run, longest run, whatever you want to do, and you can then do some other math in here to track what that is. But here we're just going to say from the moment, right? Let's get back here to the game controller. From the moment the game starts, right? On start time is equal time, and then when you leave, we're going to, right before we create our data to save, we're going to calculate that playtime and drop that information into start time. And then, right, when we got that, now when we go to create our data to save, right, now we're grabbing that time played number. And that is also going to be added to our data and our JSON, and it goes through just like our other piece was. Once again, this needs to be built to show, to actually be able to save and work. So you're going to actually have to build a build file to do that. An absolute worst case scenario, if you are doing your play testing and you are unable or you can't get to a point where you are able to have them play a built version of the game, this is the absolute worst case scenario. I do not want you to do it, but things happen, so I need to at least let you know about this option. Is to come in, create your data controller. It's public. Create all your information here, have them play it in the player, and then before they actually hit stop, and you're going to have to put some different things in for that, but before you hit stop on the play, take a screenshot of the data that you're collecting. Once again, that is not the way you want to do it. You want to show them a final, quote, final version of the game. You want it to be in a build file, but I do understand that things happen. So that is a workaround in this case. It's just going to throw people off playing it in the player versus just playing it as a final build game. Okay. And so with that, what we can do is we figure out our data that we're going to be testing in our UX testing. We go in, we make changes to our user profile data. What things are we saving? In our data processing, we add them through again into both the main, setting up the variables, and then setting it up in the data processing function. And then we make sure to update that in the create data to save, and if there's anything else that needs to be done upon exiting from that. And then I'll get you all the information you need. Definitely in this case, you don't need to set it up to load this information. And then finally, once again, it's going to be saved in the same location as it was previously with the game save data JSON, but now it's actually being saved by the date and time, so it's not going to get rewritten or written over, which is definitely what you do not want when you're doing testing. And so what I'm going to actually do, because this is important and I want everybody to be able to make this work, I am going to actually go ahead and add these files to our to Canvas. Let me open up my Canvas real quick so I can figure out where exactly I'm going to put them, so I can let you know here in the video. Hey, type my password right. I'm going to pause real quick so you don't have to sit here while I'm typing in my information. Okay, so what I've done is I have, I'll just bring this over so you can see it, in files for our Canvas. I've created a folder C# for UX testing save, and I am going to, here in just a moment, drop these CS files into those so you have access. You can just bring them directly into your version of your individual game project. And so just remember to go through as you do that. You can bring them in, but make sure you're hooking them up, making sure everything is connected correctly. And so from there, that is it for tonight. I'll be posting a couple other videos here and there over the next few days, but I wanted to get this out because if you haven't been thinking about UX testing, it is definitely time to start getting a move in that direction. All right, so hopefully this is helpful, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.